My in-laws kept asking to see my thigh during dinner, and when I finally showed them the birthmark, half the table went silent. The other half started whispering. I thought it was just creepy. But then I saw it, the exact same mark on 3 of the children at the family picnic. And that's when I realized I wasn't a guest. I was proof of something they'd tried to bury. I'm Emma, and if you're watching this, you probably think you know your family. You probably think DNA tests and ancestry websites have killed all the family secrets. But let me tell you something. Some families have been keeping secrets since before you were even possible. And sometimes, those secrets are written on your skin. My Persian cat Milo is currently purring in my lap as I record this, probably the only family member I trust anymore. He's been with me through everything, including the week that destroyed my marriage and revealed a truth so twisted I still wake up at 3 a.m. wondering if it was real. It started 6 months ago when my husband Daniel suggested we visit his family in Italy. We'd been married 2 years, together for 4, and I'd only met his parents twice. They lived in this massive villa outside Florence, old money from his father's medical career. Vincent had been some hotshot fertility doctor in the 80s and 90s, helping desperate couples have babies when the technology was still new and miraculous. They really want to get to know you better, Daniel said, booking our flights before I could protest. Plus, it's a family reunion. You'll meet everyone. I should have paid attention to how he said everyone, like it meant something more. The villa was something out of a movie. Cypress trees lining the driveway, fountains that probably cost more than my Chicago apartment, and enough rooms to house a small hotel. Claudette, my mother-in-law, greeted us at the door wearing linen that probably cost more than my wedding dress. Emma, darling, she air-kissed my cheeks, her eyes already scanning me like I was a specimen. You look healthy. Weird compliment, but whatever. I was jet-lagged, clutching Milo's carrier and just wanted to shower. Daniel had insisted I bring Milo, said his parents loved cats. Another lie, as it turned out. That first dinner should have been my warning. 23 family members around a table that belonged in a museum, and half of them kept staring at me. Not in a "oh Daniel's wife" way, but in a "we need to discuss this" way. Vincent sat at the head, silver-haired and commanding even in retirement. He raised his glass for a toast, his eyes locked on mine. To family, he said, to blood, to the connections that bind us across time and distance. Everyone drank. I noticed my hand was shaking. After the third course, Claudette leaned over. Emma, dear, Daniel mentioned you have a birthmark. A port wine stain? I nearly choked on my wine. Yeah, on my thigh. Why? Oh, just curious. They run in families, you know. Genetic markers. Daniel squeezed my knee under the table, but his smile was tight. Mom's always been interested in genetics. Occupational hazard of being married to a fertility doctor. The conversation moved on, but I caught the looks, the whispers in Italian I couldn't understand. The way Vincent kept studying my face like he was looking for something specific. That night, in our guest room with its view of the vineyards, I confronted Daniel. That was weird, right? The birthmark thing? He was already in bed, scrolling his phone. Mom's just thorough. She likes to know everything about the family medical history. In case we have kids. We've been trying for a year, I reminded him. She knows that. Just humor them, Em. It's only a week. Milo jumped on the bed, settling between us like a furry referee. I stroked his gray fur, finding comfort in his purr. At least someone in this place felt normal. The next morning, I woke to find Claudette in my room. Not knocking, not waiting. Just standing there by the window watching me sleep. I jerked upright, heart pounding. What the hell? Oh, you're awake. Breakfast is ready. Wear something summery. Her eyes flicked to my legs covered by the sheets. It's going to be warm today. She left before I could respond. Milo hissed at the door, his back arched. Even he knew something was off. At breakfast, more family had arrived. Cousins, aunts, uncles, their kids. The villa was becoming a circus. I stuck close to Daniel, but he kept getting pulled away for family business discussions with his father. You must be Emma. A woman approached me by the pool. She was about my age, stunning in that effortless European way. I'm Lucia, Vincent's niece. We chatted about nothing, the usual small talk, until she suddenly asked, can I see it? See what? The birthmark. Everyone's talking about it. I laughed nervously. Why is everyone obsessed with my birthmark? Lucia's smile faltered. You really don't know. Before I could ask what she meant, A child ran past us and jumped in the pool. A boy, maybe 7, laughing and splashing. As he climbed out, I saw it. On his right thigh, exactly where mine was, the same port wine stain. Same shape, same size. My blood went cold. Whose kid is that? I asked. My cousin Marco's son. Why? I couldn't answer. I was too busy scanning the pool area. There, a teenage girl sunbathing. Same mark. A toddler in water wings. Same mark. 3 kids. 3 identical birthmarks. Just like mine. I need you to understand something. When you realize your entire life might be built on a lie, your brain doesn't process it all at once. It comes in waves. First denial, then confusion, then a desperate need for answers. I found Daniel and Vincent's study. The two of them bent over old photo albums. We need to talk, I said. Now. Vincent looked up, and for the first time I saw something like fear in his eyes. Emma. Yes, I suppose we do. Dad, not now. Daniel started, but Vincent held up a hand. She's seen the children. What children? What is this? My voice was rising. Milo had followed me, weaving between my legs, sensing my distress. It's when we heard the scream. Everyone ran outside. By the pool, Lucia was pulling a small body from the water. The boy with the birthmark. Marco's son. He'd hit his head on the diving board, blood clouding the water. Vincent rushed forward, the doctor in him taking over. Call an ambulance. Everyone back. The next hour was chaos. Ambulances, police, family members crying. The boy survived, thank God, but had a serious concussion. As they loaded him into the ambulance, his swim trunks had shifted, and I saw the birthmark again. So did everyone else. The whispers started immediately. In the confusion, I grabbed Daniel's arm. We're leaving. Now. We can't just leave. My cousin's kid almost died. Your cousin's kid has my birthmark. They all do. What the fuck is going on? He looked at me then, really looked at me, and I saw it. He knew. Maybe not everything, but he knew something. We'll talk tonight, he said, after things calmed down. But things didn't calm down. If anything, they got worse. That evening, the family gathered in the main living room. The boy was stable, but the accident had shaken everyone. Vincent stood by the fireplace, looking older than his 70 years. I suppose, he began, that some truths can't stay buried forever. Claudette reached for his hand. Vincent, don't. She has a right to know, Claudette. They all do. I was sitting on the couch, Milo in my lap, Daniel beside me, but feeling miles away. Know what? Vincent poured himself a scotch, downed it, then poured another. In the 1980s and 90s, I ran one of the most successful fertility clinics in Europe. We helped thousands of couples have children. It was pioneering work. Dad, Daniel warned. I was arrogant, Vincent continued. I thought I was God, giving life where nature had failed, and when we had difficulties with donor sperm, when the samples were compromised or insufficient, I made a decision. The room was silent, except for the crackling fire. I used my own. Someone gasped. Lucia covered her mouth. I felt the world tilt. Not always, Vincent said quickly, but more than I should have, more than anyone knew. I told myself it was for the greater good. These couples were desperate, and I had excellent genetics. The birthmark was just an unfortunate signature. I stood up so fast. Milo yowled. Are you saying I'm... Your mother came to my clinic in 1993, Vincent said softly. She was single, wanted a child desperately. The donor she selected, his sample was compromised. I made a choice. The room exploded. People shouting in Italian, Claudette crying, someone threw a glass. But I couldn't hear any of it. All I could hear was the rushing in my ears, the sound of my life crumbling. Daniel reached for me. I swear I didn't know. Not for sure. I suspected maybe, but I slapped him hard. Then I ran. I made it to our rental car, Milo's carrier in one hand, keys in the other. My hands were shaking so badly, I could barely get the door open. Emma, wait. Daniel caught up, grabbing my arm. Please let me explain. Explain what? I screamed. That you knew your father might be my father. That we might be, oh God, I'm going to be sick. We're not related, he said quickly. I had us tested, secretly, when I first suspected. We're not blood relatives. I swear. You had us tested. I laughed, but it sounded hysterical. How long have you known? I didn't know. I suspected. The birthmark, your age. The fact that your mom used a fertility clinic in Europe. But I loved you, I love you. If you loved me, you would have told me. I shoved him away and got in the car. Milo was crying in his carrier, picking up on my distress. I peeled out of the driveway, not caring where I was going, just needing to get away. The Italian countryside blurred past. It was dark now, the roads winding and unfamiliar. I was crying so hard, I could barely see. My phone kept ringing. Daniel, Claudette, unknown numbers. That's when it happened. A deer jumped into the road. I swerved, tires screaming, and for a moment I was sure we were going over the embankment. Milo yowled, his carrier sliding across the seat. But somehow, miraculously, I kept control. The car skidded to a stop on the shoulder, headlights illuminating the drop-off that would have killed us. I sat there shaking, then pulled Milo out of his carrier, and held him tight. He was trembling too, but purring, trying to comfort me even though he was terrified. It's okay, I whispered into his fur. We're okay, we're getting out of here. I drove to a hotel in Florence, ignored the hundreds of calls and texts, and tried to process what I'd learned. My entire identity was a lie. The man I'd called dad for 30 years wasn't my biological father. My real father was my father-in-law, the man I'd been having Sunday dinners with. But there was more to uncover. I called my mom in Chicago. Mom, I need you to tell me about the fertility clinic. Everything. There was a long pause. How did you find out? So she knew. Of course she knew. The birthmark gave it away. Did you know who the donor really was? No, she said quickly. God, no. They told me he was a medical student. Healthy, intelligent, Italian heritage, like your dad would have been. I never knew it was the doctor himself. Did dad know? My dad who raised me. She started crying. He knew you weren't biologically his. We'd tried for years, Emma. He was infertile, but he loved you from the moment you were born. You were his daughter in every way that mattered. I thought about the man who'd taught me to ride a bike, who'd walked me down the aisle, who died 5 years ago still calling me his little girl. He was my real father. Biology be damned, but that didn't solve my current problem. A knock at my hotel door made me jump. I looked through the peephole, expecting Daniel. It was Lucia. Please, she said. I know you don't want company, but we need to talk. I let her in. She sat on the bed, petting Milo, who immediately claimed her lap. I'm one of them too, she said quietly. One of Vincent's biological children. I found out 3 years ago. How many are there? That we know of. At least 40. Probably more. He kept records. Encrypted files. I've been trying to connect us all, to figure out the scope of what he did. 40? I felt sick again. He genuinely thought he was helping. Classic narcissist. And the birthmark made it easier to track us. About half have it, like some genetic lottery. Does Daniel know about you? She shook her head. Daniel and his sister are Claudette's biological children. Vincent only used his own sperm for the clinic patients, not his wife. Although, she hesitated. What? There are rumors that Vincent was obsessed with creating a superior genetic line. Some of us think he specifically chose women with certain traits. Your mother was a concert pianist, wasn't she? High IQ. I nodded, the implications making my skin crawl. Mine was a mathematician. Marco's wife was a surgeon. See the pattern? He was playing God. He was playing eugenics, Lucia corrected. And now we're all here, at this reunion, because Claudette is dying. What? Cancer. Stage 4. Vincent wanted to gather all his children, biological and otherwise, before she passes. Some sick need for confession or absolution. I thought about Claudette's cold elegance, how she'd stood by him all these years. She knew. She found out about 10 years ago, nearly left him, but then decided the scandal would destroy too many lives. So she stayed quiet, but she made him stop practicing, made him retire early. We sat in silence, processing the weight of generational secrets. What are you going to do? Lucia asked. I don't know. My marriage is over, that's for sure. Daniel loves you. In his fucked up way, he really does. He suspected I was his father's biological child, and still married me. That's not love. I don't even know what that is. Lucia stood to leave, but turned at the door. There's a group of us meeting tomorrow. The donor children. We're trying to decide if we should go public. Expose what Vincent did. You should come. After she left, I curled up with Milo and cried until I had no tears left. I went back to the villa the next morning. Not for Daniel, not for Vincent, but for answers. And maybe, if I'm honest, for closure. The family was subdued after the pool accident and the previous night's revelations. I found Vincent in his study, looking haggard. Emma. He stood when I entered. I'm so sorry. I never meant for you to find out this way. How did you mean for me to find out? Or were you planning to take this to your grave? He gestured for me to sit. I remained standing. I've written letters, he said, to all of you, to be delivered after my death. I thought it would be easier. Easier for who? For everyone. He looked out the window at the grounds. I gave 43 couples the children they desperately wanted. I gave life where there was none. But I see now that I also gave confusion, pain, and a legacy of lies. Did you ever think about the children? About us? Every day. I kept track of all of you. Your accomplishments, your struggles. You were all so exceptional. It validated my choices, or so I told myself. We're not your science experiment. No. He agreed quietly. You're my children. And I failed you all. I wanted to hate him. This arrogant man who'd played with lives, like we were chess pieces. But looking at him now, shrunken and old, I just felt empty. Does my mother know you're my biological father? No, I never told any of the mothers. It would have destroyed the clinic, their trust, everything. Their trust. I laughed bitterly. You violated their trust the moment you substituted your own sperm. You're right. He pulled out a folder from his desk. This is yours. Your complete medical history, genetic information, everything you might need to know. There are things, conditions that run in our family. You should be aware. I took the folder with numb fingers. Our family. The words made me want to scream. Is that why Daniel married me? Some sick family experiment? Vincent's face crumpled. No, God, no. Daniel fell in love with you. Before he knew anything. When he started to suspect, he came to me. I told him it was impossible, that I lied to my own son, but he had us tested, behind my back. He needed to be sure you weren't, that you could have children together safely. When the test showed you shared no DNA with him, he was relieved. He thought maybe the birthmark was just coincidence, but he still suspected. Yes, and he chose love over truth. Perhaps that makes him weak, or perhaps it makes him human. I heard footsteps in the hallway. Daniel appeared in the doorway, looking like he hadn't slept. He started. Don't. I held up my hand. I'm not ready to talk to you. I'll leave you two alone, Vincent said, but I stopped him. No. You stay. You both need to hear this. I took a deep breath, Milo rubbing against my legs. I'm going to meet with the other donor children. We're going to decide together whether to expose what you did. Whatever we decide, I'll abide by it. But my marriage? I looked at Daniel. That's over. You can't build a life on lies, even lies of omission. Daniel's face crumbled. Emma, please, we can work through this. Couples therapy, anything. Therapy can't fix this. You suspected I was your father's biological child, and you pursued me anyway. I don't even have words for what that is. It's love, he said desperately. Complicated, messy, maybe wrong, but it's love. No, love would have been telling me the truth, and letting me decide. This was possession, control, just like your father. Vincent flinched at that, but didn't argue. I turned to leave, then stopped. One more thing. The boy who almost drowned. Is he? Mirko's wife used our clinic. Vincent confirmed. The boy is my biological grandson. The layers of deception were staggering. I left them there, 2 men drowning in consequences they'd created. The meeting was held at a restaurant in Florence, private room in the back. 12 of us showed up, though Lucia said she'd contacted at least 20. Some looked like me, dark hair and eyes. Others were blonde, tall, short, a random sampling of Vincent's genetics mixed with desperate women from across Europe. I'm recording this, one man announced, setting up his phone. For those who couldn't make it, we went around the table sharing our stories. A teacher from Germany who'd always wondered why she looked nothing like her parents. A chef from Spain whose birthmark had been a family mystery. Twin brothers from England who'd discovered the truth through a commercial DNA test. The question is, Lucia said, do we go public? Expose what Vincent did. It'll destroy lives, someone argued. Our parents, the ones who raised us, they're victims too. But if we don't, the teacher countered, he gets away with it. And how many other doctors did the same thing? This could be happening everywhere. We debated for hours. The legal ramifications, the ethical implications, the personal cost. Milo stayed in my lap, a warm comfort as my world tilted and reformed. Finally we voted. 7 for exposure, 5 against. Majority rules, Lucia said. But we do this carefully. We hire lawyers, protect the innocent parents, focus on the violation of consent and medical ethics. As we prepared to leave, the Spanish chef pulled me aside. Your husband, he's Vincent's legitimate son? I nodded. That must be complicated. We're getting divorced. He studied me with eyes that looked disturbingly like mine. I'm Miguel. If you need anything, support, someone to talk to who understands. He handed me his card. There was something in his voice, a warmth that made me pocket the card instead of throwing it away. Back at the hotel, I video called my best friend Sarah in Chicago. She'd been watching Milo's sister Luna while I was gone. Holy shit, she said after I explained everything. This is like a soap opera. Your father-in-law is your father? Biological father? I corrected. My dad is still my dad. And Daniel knew? He suspected. Which is almost worse. He played genetic roulette with our relationship. What about kids? Weren't you guys trying? The question hit like a punch. Thank God we never succeeded. Can you imagine? The baby would have been Vincent's grandchild and, God, I can't even think about it. Come home, Sarah said. Get on the next flight. You need to be away from all this. But I couldn't leave. Not yet. The story was still unfolding, and I needed to see it through. That night, Claudette called. I'd like to see you alone. Please, against my better judgment, I went. She was in the villa's garden, looking fragile among the roses. I owe you an apology, she began. When I found out what Vincent had done, I should have exposed him. But I was a coward. You were protecting your family. I was protecting my reputation, she corrected. My standing. The family name. And in doing so, I let him continue the lie. You have every right to hate me. I don't hate you. I pity you. You stayed with a man who betrayed everything your marriage stood for. She smiled sadly. He betrayed more than our marriage. He betrayed his oath as a doctor, the trust of desperate women, and the future of dozens of children. But I loved him. Still do, God help me. How? How can you love someone capable of that? Because I remember the young man who cried when we lost our first pregnancy, who worked 36-hour shifts to save premature babies. He wasn't always a monster, Emma. He became one gradually, choice by choice, each justified by the last. That doesn't excuse it, no, but it explains it. And now I'm dying, and he'll have to live with what he's done. That's almost punishment enough. Almost. The next morning, everything exploded. Someone, one of the donor children who'd voted against exposure, had leaked the story to the press anyway. But they'd done it badly, sensationally, naming names and posting photos. My phone erupted, reporters calling, emails flooding in, social media tags. A photo of me at the pool, my birthmark visible, was circulating with the caption "Fertility doctor's secret daughter married his son." It was a nightmare. Daniel burst into my hotel room without knocking. We need to leave. Now. Before the press figures out where you are. We are not going anywhere. You need to leave. Emma, please. Let me protect you from this. Protect me, you put me in this position. If you'd told me the truth from the beginning. Would you have married me? He was crying now. If I'd said, hey, I think my dad might be your biological father, would you have stayed? The truth was, I didn't know. But that wasn't the point. I deserved the choice. I said. Milo hissed at Daniel, picking up on my anger. Even my cat knew who the real villain was. I'm filing for divorce, I continued. I want nothing from you or your family. I just want out. Our prenup. I don't care about money. I care about freedom. He left, shoulders shaking. Part of me wanted to comfort him. The part that remembered loving him. But that woman felt like a stranger now. Miguel, the Spanish chef, called that afternoon. Have you seen the news? They're camped outside Vincent's villa. Good. Let him deal with the consequences. A group of us are meeting tonight. Not about the press, just support. You should come. I almost said no. But sitting in that hotel room, Milo my only company, I realized I needed to be around people who understood. The meeting was at Miguel's restaurant. After closing, 6 of us, sharing wine and war stories. The Birthmark Club, someone jokingly called us. My wife left me, one man shared. Said she couldn't look at me without seeing Vincent. My parents won't speak to me, another added. They think I betrayed them by participating in the DNA testing. The clinic is being investigated, Lucia reported. They're going through all of Vincent's records. This could be bigger than we thought. Miguel cooked for us. Simple Spanish comfort food. As he set down a plate in front of me, our hands brushed. That spark of attraction felt wrong, given everything. But also, inevitable. We shared DNA, trauma, and now this surreal experience. Don't. Lucia warned quietly, noticing the moment. It's called genetic sexual attraction. Happens sometimes when biological relatives meet as adults. It's not real. But it felt real. The first real thing I'd felt in days. A week passed. The media storm intensified. Vincent was arrested, then released on bail. The clinic's records revealed he'd fathered at least 63 children across Europe. The number kept growing, as more people came forward. I stayed in Italy, partly to see it through, partly because going home felt impossible. How do you return to normal life after something like this? Daniel tried to contact me daily. Flowers, letters, texts begging for forgiveness. I ignored them all. Then Claudette died. It was sudden. A stroke, they said, though I wondered if the stress had accelerated things. Vincent called me himself. She wanted you at the funeral, he said, voice broken. She considered you family. I am family. I reminded him bitterly. Just not the kind anyone wanted. I went to the funeral. How could I not? The church was packed, media held back by security. I sat with the donor children who came. A section of Vincent's secret legacy. Daniel gave the eulogy. He spoke about his mother's grace, her strength, her loyalty. He caught my eye when he said that last word, and I looked away. After the service, Vincent approached our group. Old, broken, but still trying to control the narrative. I'm establishing a fund, he announced. For all of you. For therapy, medical expenses, whatever you need. We don't want your money, someone spat. Then donate it, he said. But it's there. It's the least I can do. The least. As if money could fix the identity crisis he'd created. That night, Miguel found me in the hotel bar. Milo tucked in my jacket like a furry anxiety vest. You okay? No. You? No. He sat beside me, ordered wine. I've been thinking about what Lucia said. About genetic sexual attraction. Miguel. Hear me out. Yes, we share DNA. But we're not siblings. We're barely related technically. And this connection, maybe it's just two people who understand each other's pain. He was right. The attraction wasn't really about genetics. It was about shared experience, mutual understanding, the comfort of someone who got it without explanation. I'm still married, I pointed out. Not for long. I'm a mess. So am I. This is probably a terrible idea. Probably. But when he kissed me, gentle and questioning, I kissed back. It wasn't fireworks or passion. It was recognition. Two broken people finding solace. We didn't sleep together, not then. But we talked until sunrise. Sharing stories about growing up feeling different. About the birthmark we'd both been teased for. About the strange relief of finally knowing why we never quite fit. The legal battles began in earnest. Multiple countries investigating. Licenses revoked. Lawsuits filed. Vincent's empire crumbled. And he seemed to age a decade in a month. I flew home to Chicago to file for divorce and pack my life. Sarah helped, keeping me sane as I sorted through wedding photos and memories. You keeping anything? She asked, holding up a picture of Daniel and me in happier times. Just Milo, I said, scratching my cat's ears. He's the only honest male in that whole family. The divorce was surprisingly quick. Daniel didn't contest anything. Even offered alimony. I refused. Our last meeting was at the lawyer's office, signing papers. I did love you, he said as we left. That was never a lie. Love without honesty isn't love, I replied. It's possession. He nodded, accepting the judgment. What will you do now? Lev. Honestly. Finally. We parted there. Two people who'd shared a life built on secrets, now free to build something real. I'm recording this from my new apartment in Barcelona. Yes, I moved to Spain. Yes, Miguel and I are together. And yes, we know how it looks. The media had a field day. Fertility scandal siblings find love. But we're not siblings. We're two people who found each other in the wreckage of a madman's ego. Milo adapted to Spanish life, like he was born for it, lounging in sunny windows and judging the local cats. I'm working remotely, designing websites for companies that don't care about my notorious last name. The donor children group has grown to over 100 members. We have lawyers, therapists, a support network. Some are suing Vincent's estate. Others just want to move on. I fall somewhere in between. Vincent is serving 3 years in minimum security prison. Not enough. But something. He writes me letters I don't open. Daniel remarried last month. His new wife doesn't have a birthmark. I hope they're happy. I mean that. My mom visited last week. We walked through Barcelona's Gothic quarter. Milo in his carrier backpack, talking about everything and nothing. Do you regret it? She asked. Learning the truth. No. Living a lie, even unknowingly, was killing me slowly. The truth hurt, but at least it's real. She squeezed my hand. Your father would be proud. Your real father. The one who raised you. She's right. Dad always said the truth was like surgery. Painful but necessary for healing. He would have understood. If you're watching this because you've discovered your own family secret, know this. The truth doesn't destroy you. The lies do. And sometimes in the rubble of what you thought you knew, you find who you really are. Sometimes you even find love in the most unexpected places. Real love. Built on truth and choice. And the strange comfort of shared scars. My birthmark? I don't hide it anymore. It's not a mark of shame, or Vincent's signature. It's just part of me. Like my brown eyes and my tendency to trust cats more than people. It's proof that I survived the truth. And that's enough. Like and subscribe if you want to hear more unbelievable but true stories. And remember, your family secrets don't define you. Your choices do.